A fully engulfed pickup truck, and it's covering all lanes of traffic right now.
Boy, it was something to look at. Fiery crash left burning on purpose for hours in Plano. Tonight, the I-Team looking into hazmat routes, including this one where it happened on 75. I can tell you everybody involved survived that crash. There's been a shift in traffic throughout the day. We're going to dive deep into this. Good evening. I'm Doug Dunbar. Nicole's on assignment. So it all happened a little after 5 o'clock this morning. Plano fire crews say the driver of a tanker truck somehow lost control, hit another vehicle, and then the crash happened on 75 north near Parker Road. Those lanes, all of them, were closed for more than 4 hours, and the fire department thought best to just let the wreckage burn itself out. Fire crews didn't want to pour any water on the fire in an effort to avoid any kind of chemical runoff and contamination. Most of the main lanes of northbound 75 then open around noon. One lane remains closed, but the service road did open within the last 15 minutes, so that's the newest update. And 2 people, including the driver of the tanker truck, were taken to the hospital. Both are expected to survive. And with hazardous material involved in today's crash, I-Team reporter Brian New now looking into the efforts going on here in North Texas to protect your family and all of us from any kind of highway hazmat disaster.
Every day, thousands of 18-wheelers loaded with hazardous material drive through Dallas-Fort Worth. But it only takes one truck, one crash,
crews arrived to find a fuel truck on its side and on fire
to cause a scene like this. Local leaders have been concerned about a crash just like this for decades, which is why in the 1980s they came up with designated hazmat routes. These routes put trucks on the outer loops of Dallas and Fort Worth, away from the central cities. But over the next 4 decades, the population of North Texas jumped from 3 million to 8 million. And yet the hazmat routes remained the same, including this stretch of Highway 75, the scene of Wednesday's crash.
The region has grown everywhere.
Earlier this year, we sat down with Dan Kessler with the North Central Council of Governments. He's the person in charge of the region's hazmat routes.
Do these need to be updated?
I think as long as we keep an eye on it and look for it. I think the thing to remember is, and this is the part that's difficult to understand, but we also don't have a lot of other options.
Without a completed further outer loop around the Metroplex for hazmat trucks to take, Kessler says the existing routes are the best we have. These routes still ensure trucks stay out of the densely populated downtown districts of Dallas and Fort Worth. And by simply having known designated routes, Kessler says first responders can be better prepared. Roughly 6 miles from Wednesday's crash is Plano Fire Station number 5. Here, one of the region's largest hazmat teams is stationed. It is strategically located near multiple hazmat routes. 4 years ago, the city of Plano also put into service a new state-of-the-art hazmat apparatus known as the bus.
Over the past decade, according to federal transportation data, there has been more than 260 crashes involving trucks carrying hazardous material that resulted in monetary damage here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Regional transportation officials say that is a relatively small number compared to the total number of crashes. And yet, as we saw with today's crash, it just takes one to have a large impact. With the I-Team, Brian New, CBS News, Texas.